The BMW 1 Series F20 is one of those cars that on the surface seems like the perfect mix between compact practicality and the thrill of driving that BMW is known for. Produced between 2011 and 2019, the second-generation 1 Series carried forward the reputation of being the only compact hatchback in its class that offered rear-wheel drive for most of its production run. That alone made it stand apart in a segment filled with front-wheel drive rivals from Audi, Mercedes, and Volkswagen. But when you look beyond the sleek badge and the rear-wheel drive charm, the F20 is also a car that comes with a variety of engines, trim levels, and reliability considerations that every potential buyer should be aware of. In this deep dive, we'll uncover everything you need to know about the BMW 1 Series F20, from the engines and their horsepower figures to the common faults that could leave you with an expensive repair bill. If you're considering buying one, this is the information you'll want to hear before making your decision. When the F20 launched in 2011, it was offered with a mix of petrol and diesel engines. The range started modestly with smaller four-cylinder options and stretched all the way up to the powerful six-cylinder models in the M135i and later M140i, cars that have already gained a cult following. The initial lineup of petrol engines included the 114i, 116i, 118i, 120i, 125i, and the M135i. On the diesel side, buyers could choose between the 114D, 116D, 108D, 120D, and the muscular 125D. Later in the life cycle, BMW updated the engines with their new modular family, which included three-cylinder petrol and diesel units alongside improved four-cylinder motors and the more powerful M140i at the top of the range. Let's begin with the petrol engines. The entry-level 114i was launched with a 1.6-liter four-cylinder engine producing 101 horsepower. It may wear a BMW badge, but with such modest power, performance is far from sporty. It takes well over 10 seconds to reach 100 kilometers per hour, and many critics noted that the engine often felt underpowered for the weight of the car. More importantly for buyers, this N13 engine has some well-documented issues. Timing chain problems, high-pressure fuel pump failures, and carbon buildup on the intake valves due to direct injection are the main concerns. Maintenance costs can quickly escalate if these issues appear, which is why many enthusiasts recommend avoiding the 148i unless you find one with a very solid service history. A step up from there is the 116i, which also used a 1.6-liter turbocharged four-cylinder with 136 horsepower. While quicker than the 114i, it still struggled to live up to the sporty image associated with BMW. The same N13 engine issues apply here: timing chain wear, oil leaks, and misfires caused by ignition coil problems. These cars can also suffer from stretched timing chains that cause a rattling noise on cold starts. Fixing it requires significant labor, and if ignored, it could lead to catastrophic engine damage. On the positive side, fuel consumption is relatively good for a premium hatchback, but you must weigh that against the risk of reliability headaches. The 118i is where things become more acceptable for most buyers. Initially, it also used the 1.6-liter N13 engine, but output was increased to 170 horsepower, which improved performance considerably. However, reliability concerns remain the same as in the smaller 116i and 114i. In 2015, BMW introduced its new B38 three-cylinder turbocharged engine to the 118i, which produced 136 horsepower. While three-cylinder engines often get a bad reputation for noise and vibration, this unit is actually smoother than you'd expect and comes with improved efficiency and reduced emissions. Reliability is generally better compared to the older N13, although some owners have reported issues with turbochargers and timing chains even in these newer modular engines. The B38 is an overall improvement, but as always with BMW, careful maintenance is key. Moving up, the 120i originally featured a 1.6-liter engine producing 170 horsepower, but later switched to a 2.0-liter four-cylinder producing between 184 and 192 horsepower, depending on the year. These models finally delivered on the promise of the BMW badge, offering strong mid-range performance and reasonable economy. The newer B48 engine, introduced in 2015, is considered one of BMW's more reliable modern units, but it still has potential weak points, such as oil leaks, coolant system failures, and occasional turbo issues. These engines also run hot, and lack of proper maintenance can lead to problems with gaskets and seals over time. The 125i is where things get more exciting. This model used a 2.0-liter four-cylinder turbo with 218 horsepower, later revised to 224 horsepower. With this power, the F20 really started to feel like a genuine performance hatchback. Acceleration was brisk, handling was sharp, and yet it still returned decent fuel economy. Common issues are similar to those in the 120i, but these engines are less stressed than the smaller ones and tend to hold up better with regular servicing. However, as with all turbocharged engines, expect potential issues with high-pressure fuel pumps and turbo wear if the car has not been maintained properly. Now we arrive at the highlight of the petrol range, the M135i and M140i. The M135i was launched with the legendary N55 3.0-liter inline-six engine, producing 320 horsepower. This engine is widely praised for its smoothness, sound, and linear power delivery. It turned the relatively modest F20 into a true performance machine, capable of sprinting to 100 kilometers per hour in around 4.9 seconds with xDrive all-wheel drive. However, even this fantastic engine is not without faults. Common problems include high-pressure fuel pump failures, water pump failures, oil leaks from the valve cover and oil filter housing, and wastegate rattle on the turbocharger. Carbon buildup on the intake valves is another issue with direct injection BMW engines. These problems can be expensive to fix, but the reward is one of the best driving experiences in a compact hatchback. In 2016, BMW replaced the M135i with the M140i, which featured the newer B58 3.0-liter inline-six. Power increased to 340 horsepower, and reliability improved significantly compared to the N55. The B58 is considered one of BMW's best modern engines, with fewer issues related to timing chains and fuel systems. Still, it's not bulletproof, and potential owners should budget for water pump replacement and be mindful of oil consumption. But make no mistake, the M140i is already becoming a modern classic, and demand for these cars is strong. Switching to diesels, the F20 also had a broad lineup. The entry-level 114D offered a 1.6-liter diesel engine with only 95 horsepower. Performance is sluggish, and while it may appeal to those who only care about economy, this engine is known for turbo failures, EGR valve issues, and timing chain wear. The 116D improved things slightly with 116 horsepower from the same 1.6-liter diesel. After 2015, the 116D switched to a 1.5-liter three-cylinder diesel, which offered similar performance with improved efficiency. Reliability is average, with common issues being clogged EGR systems and injector problems, especially if the car was mostly driven on short journeys. The 108D is a far more popular choice, offering 143 horsepower initially and later upgraded to 150 horsepower. With a 2.0-liter diesel engine, it balances performance and economy well, and many buyers consider it the sweet spot in the diesel range. However, common faults include timing chain stretch, which is a well-known issue on BMW four-cylinder diesels of this era, as well as EGR cooler failures and turbo wear. If the car has been used mostly on motorways, these engines tend to hold up well, but town-driven examples can suffer from clogged diesel particulate filters. The 120D was another strong seller, initially with 184 horsepower and later upgraded to 190 horsepower. With this engine, the F20 felt genuinely quick, while still returning excellent fuel economy. These engines are durable if well maintained, but once again, timing chain issues, EGR problems, and turbocharger wear are the main weak points. Regular oil changes and the use of high-quality fuel go a long way in extending their life. At the top of the diesel range was the 125D, which produced 218 horsepower from a twin-turbocharged 2.0-liter engine. Performance was very strong, rivaling some hot hatches of its day, but complexity is higher, meaning more potential for problems. Turbocharger failures are more likely here due to the added stress of the twin-turbo system, and fuel injectors can also be problematic. Still, for buyers who want both performance and fuel economy, the 125D can be a compelling option. Beyond the engines, the F20 has several other known faults that buyers should be aware of. The interior quality is generally solid, but some owners report premature wear on the seat bolsters, creaks and rattles from the trim, and issues with the iDrive system, freezing or crashing. On early cars, the iDrive controller itself could fail, requiring replacement. The climate control system can also develop faults, such as weak airflow due to failing blower motors or malfunctioning sensors. On the mechanical side, suspension components such as control arm bushings and anti-roll bar links tend to wear out, leading to knocking noises and vague handling. Steering racks can also develop play over time, though this is less common. Rear-wheel drive models offer sharper handling but can suffer from differential whine if not maintained. All-wheel drive xDrive models are more secure in bad weather, but add weight and complexity, and some owners report transfer case problems. Electronics can also be a headache in the F20. Faulty sensors, warning lights, and issues with parking sensors or rear-view cameras are not uncommon. Battery drain issues have been reported as well, often linked to faulty IBS sensors or alternator problems. As with most modern BMWs, electrical gremlins can be frustrating and expensive to diagnose. Overall, the BMW 1 Series F20 is a fascinating car. It was the last compact BMW to offer rear-wheel drive, which gives it a unique place in the brand's history. The range of engines is broad, from modestly powered entry-level models to the fire-breathing M135i and M140i, and the choice between petrol and diesel opens the door for different types of buyers. But potential owners need to go in with their eyes open. Timing chain issues, fuel system problems, turbo failures, and electronic faults are all possible, and repairs can be costly. That's why a full service history and careful inspection are absolutely essential when buying one. If you want the ultimate performance, the M140i with the B58 engine is the crown jewel. If you want a balance of performance and economy, the 120D or 125i are strong choices. But if you're tempted by the cheapest 114i or 116i, remember that low purchase prices can often hide expensive mechanical risks. In the end, the BMW 1 Series F20 is a car that rewards those who choose wisely and punishes those who don't do their research. If you get the right engine with a well-documented service history, you'll own a compact hatchback that not only carries the prestige of the BMW badge, but also delivers a driving experience few rivals can match.